name is Jane O'Brien, and I'm your second open reader for the evening. We're going to take about a 1-minute break, and then we're going to come back with our open set. Thanks. To get something to drink. Our first open reader of the night is Chris Fitzgerald, and Chris has been here before. Let's give him a big hand.
The last 4 weeks I've been reading other people's poems. Next Monday, the Red Sox open day, I will read some of my own poetry. Tonight, though, I will read In Memory of W.B. Yeats by Winston Hugh Auden. Yeats died in January of '39. Auden wrote this poem in February of '39. When I think of '39, I think of September 1st, '39, when Germany invaded Poland and World War II began. 50 million people died, way too soon. This poem captures the mood of that moment. Innumerable anxieties and fears abounded. But this poem is also a lasting tribute from a living poet, though now dead, to a recently deceased poet, who now is not so recently deceased. It is also, to my satisfaction anyways, a fine, if not the best description of what poetry can or cannot do. When push becomes shove, what poetry is capable of being. In memory of W.B. Yeats. He disappeared in the dead of winter. The brooks were frozen, the airports almost deserted, and snow disfigured the public statues. The mercury sank in the mouth of the dying day. Oh, all the instruments agreed, the day of his death was a dark old day. Far from his illness, the wolves ran on through the evergreen forest. The peasant river was untempted by the fashionable quays, by morning tongues. The death of the poet was kept from his poems. But for him, it was his last afternoon as himself, an afternoon of nurses and rumors. The provinces of his body revolted. The squares of his mind were empty. Silence invaded the suburbs. The current of his feeling failed. He became his admirers. Now he is scattered among 100 cities and wholly given over to unfamiliar affections, to find his happiness in another kind of way, and to be punished under a foreign code of conscience. The words of a dead man are modified in the guts of the living. But the importance and the noise of tomorrow, when the brokers are roaring like beasts on the floor of the bourse, and the poor have the sufferings to which they are fairly accustomed, and each in the cell of himself is almost convinced of his freedom, a few thousand will think of this day as one thinks of a day when one did something slightly unusual. Oh, all the instruments agree, the day of his death was a dark old day. You were silly like us. Your gift survived it all. The parish of rich women, physical decay. Yourself, mad Ireland, hurt you in poetry. Now Ireland has her madness and her weather still. But poetry makes nothing happen. It survives in the valley of its saying, where executives would never want to tamper. It flows south from ranches of isolation and the busy griefs, raw towns that we believe and die in. It survives, a way of happening, a mouth. Earth received an honored guest. William Yeats is laid to rest. Let the Irish vessel lie empty of its poetry. Time that is intolerant of the brave and innocent, and indifferent and weak to a beautiful physique, worships language and forgives everyone by whom it lives, pardons cowardice, conceit, lays its honors at their feet. Time that with this strange excuse pardoned Kipling and his views, and will pardon Paul Claudel, pardons him for writing well. In the nightmare of the dark, all the dogs of Europe bark, and the living nations wait, each sequestered in its hate. Intellectual disgrace stares from every human face, and the seas of pity lie, locked and frozen in each eye. Follow, poet, follow right, to the bottom of the night, with your unconstrained voice, still persuade us to rejoice. With the farming of a verse, make a vineyard of the curse, sing of human unsuccess, in a rapture of distress. In the deserts of the heart, let the healing fountain start, in the prison of his days, teach the free man how to praise. Thank you.